Well, a South Bend teenager turned pro athlete is finally back on his bike.
But BMX rider Brett Banisiewicz's parents credit much of his progress to an unconventional treatment they fought pretty hard for their son to get. A terrible fall from his bike caused a traumatic brain injury, put him into a coma 18 months ago. WSBT's Kelli Stopczynski talked with Brett and his parents about his ride to recovery.
Brett Banasiewicz is the same fearless kid he was before the August 2012 crash.
Even though I fall, that still doesn't scare me because I know accidents can still happen.
In so many ways, though, he's different. His speech and motor skills much slower.
That's good.
His tricks smaller, safer. But now the 19-year-old is more focused than ever.
You have to stand up and do what you want to do.
He gets that determination honestly. After his accident, Brett's doctors wanted modern-day medicine to help him recover. His parents wanted something else.
I didn't want to give him one drug to stimulate him and one drug to bring him down to sleep. So we spent 2 weeks battling the doctor, pulling up research and proving to the doctor that this was a viable method for him to okay the treatment.
Shortly after they learned Brett was in a coma with a serious brain injury, his parents asked doctors to allow their son to undergo something called hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Hyperbarics oxygenates the blood, increases blood flow. Blood flow to any injury that you have, whether it be a leg or an arm, if you increase the blood flow, helps the circulation, improves the healing. That is a proven fact.
About 6 weeks after Brett's fall, his doctors in Virginia finally gave the green light. He started hyperbarics in Atlanta, and that part of his therapy involved sitting in a pressurized chamber filled with 100% oxygen, the pressure equivalent to several feet below sea level.
It's weird to get used to because they shut the door and start bringing down. You're like, what am I doing in here?
The first day he had hyperbarics, he was unable to walk, communicate, and we had him in a wheelchair, and they put him into the hyperbaric chamber. 3 days later, he stood up and walked in. It was huge.
Brett worked up to doing hyperbarics 5 days a week, an hour at a time.
But there's very little research into the long and short-term effects of hyperbaric oxygen therapy when it comes to traumatic brain injuries, making it a controversial and unconventional type of treatment. In fact, there's a hyperbaric oxygen chamber here at Memorial Hospital in South Bend. They use it to treat burns, carbon monoxide poisoning, and some serious infections. But Brett's parents found out they will not use it to treat traumatic brain injuries.
I did not want Brett out of the city, out of the state. I wanted him home. And we talked, and it wasn't about what I wanted. It was about what was best for him.
That led them to a facility in Dallas, Texas. Brett's parents spent weeks and months at a time there with him, doing hyperbarics and an intense regimen of other therapies. More than a year after starting, the Banisiewiczes say Brett's about 6 months or a year ahead of where doctors thought he'd be. And Bill and Lisa are confident they made the right choice for their son's ride to recovery.
At that point when he was 17 and he has 80 more years to live, and we can sit here and know that we're going to grow old with both of our kids, there's no price tag on that.
Brett's scheduled to go back to Dallas in April for about 2 more months of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. He and his parents hope it's the last time for a while. Since there isn't much research on it, Brett's also part of a case study using hyperbarics for traumatic brain injuries. As to why Memorial does not use its hyperbaric chamber for brain injury, it told us that's because clinical research is not conclusive when it comes to whether hyperbarics is actually effective for brain injuries.
And that treatment is not covered by insurance, and it's expensive.
Very expensive. It costs them $5,000 to $8,000 a month to live in Dallas and pay for all of his therapies and that hyperbarics treatment. Brett's dad told me money from benefits and something called the Athlete Recovery Fund, as well as money from Brett's sponsors, is how they've been paying for it.
Going to Dallas for these treatments, they had a tough time finding a place. Well, they couldn't find a place around here to do it.
Exactly.
His mom wants to change that, though.
She's on a mission. She told me that Lisa says that she made a deal with God after Brett's accident. If he saved her son, she would spend the rest of her life trying to make a difference. She says she wants to work to educate people and make hyperbaric oxygen therapy for traumatic brain injuries the norm in Indiana, as it is in other states like Texas.
And it's just incredible seeing him on that bike and what he's doing right now.
And they say he's going to keep improving.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go.
Which will be fun to see.
He's come so far.
He has.
Thanks,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Well, this